informational meeting to order. This is a twice-a-year mandated information meeting. So roll call.
St. Laurent,
Here.
Lee,
Here.
Oswald,
Here.
Hutnick,
Here.
Bowers,
Here.
Van Wormer, not present, Poznanski, not present, Rose here. We have a quorum.
Okay, so approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Any opposed? Okay. So our informational items, we're going to review just the downtown management report. So this year, or the last 6 months, I should say, our successes are completing the spring decor. We also earned a grant to allow for us to have 2 interns that are going to be focusing on grant writing for the DDA. We have continued our partnership with 4 County Community Foundation in the shared space. We've also continued this year with Vintage Fest, which we'll hear more about today, and Shakespeare in the Park, or Shakespeare in the Village, has officially been launched with having already some informational meetings going. Our goals and objectives for next year is we were discussing wayfinding signage in the downtown area. We're going to have a full new Christmas decor program in place. And then we're also looking about bringing back the music and sound system to the downtown area. Anyone have anything they want to add for successes or goals and objectives?
Nope.
All right, any board member comments? We'll start down here with Paul.
Nope.
John?
All good, thank you.
All good?
Nope, good.
I'm good. Perfect. All righty, any public comment at this time?
Is that on? Is that mic on?
There's a button on it already.
Okay, thanks.
There we go. Sharon Smith, 377 North Main. I'm volunteering for the Vintage Fest right now, Shakespeare as well. Vintage Fest, I'm still finding a few errors on the website that I'm hoping can get addressed. When you go to the Vintage Fest 2024, when you scroll down, it shows the 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. park gazebo, antique tractors, kids trains, butterfly exhibit. The only thing that's correct on there is the bounce house. So I'm hoping, and I know I had brought it to someone's attention already. I don't know, if it's a problem with the person that we have doing the updates or the marketing firm, but we're paying them. They should be able to get this updated. Or if nothing else, before they post something, at least give it to one of, Kathy or Marty to take a look at it before they post it. Because I volunteered in other cities for many, many years, and you always end up with parents who come and little junior can't ride the train because there's no train. And then they end up yelling at the volunteers, and I don't want to be getting yelled at. Neither do the volunteers, so hopefully we can get that fixed. And then the Facebook site also has that mentioned still. And then also, there was a gentleman by the name of Scott Byrne who had asked how to register his car. And I tried to put a comment in for him, and it wouldn't take. It just said there were errors. And maybe somebody already messaged him or not, but that was just an FYI. I didn't know if anybody was keeping an eye on that for when people were inquiring. And that was it. Other than that, we've got the Serve Kids have started to sign up in earnest on their page, so that's going to be cool. Looking forward to a great day. These 2 ladies have worked their butts off and deserve a big round of applause once it's all done. So
You have
you as well, Karen. All right, thank you. Everybody.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you. All right, any other public comments? All right, so we will accept a motion for adjournment of the informational meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. And now we will, 7:05, call to order the regularly scheduled June Downtown Development Authority meeting. So we'll do roll call again.
St. Laurent,
Here?
Lee,
Here?
Oswald,
Here?
Putnick,
Here.
Bowers.
Here.
No Van Warmer, no Poznanski, Rose here. We have a quorum.
Okay, and we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Third.
Okay,
Sorry,
all in
who's
favor?
Second, sorry.
Second,
Okay, thank you.
Oswald?
Kathy? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, agenda is approved. And then we'll move on to approval of the minutes from the May 6th regular meeting, which is in your board packet.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I apologize. You guys sound the same over there. 2 seconds, thank you.
We've been spending a lot of time together lately.
Become one.
Too much time. Bernie was starting to sound like Brian.
Okay, and then we will open up for public forum. Anyone has anything they'd like to discuss with the board or bring to the board's attention? Okay, and we'll move on to financial report and approval of payment of the bills.
So, we had a total deposits of $52,259.72, which you can see the breakdown there. And then total bills presented for this time period is $14,436.92. If anybody has any questions?
If there's no questions or discussion, we can have a motion to approve the report and bill payment.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. That's Kathy Oswald.
We'll do a roll call.
St. Laurent,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Oswald,
Yes.
Putnick,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Rose, yes, 6-0.
All right, and then we'll go to funding request. The board has not received any funding request to present at this time. So we will move on to unfinished business. Employment committee update. We have received quite a few applicants for the office administrator role. We have not received any qualified candidates for the executive director role at this time. So the next step is to narrow down to our top 3 to 4 candidates, reconvene the employment committee for a panel of interviews, which we hopefully can get done here in the next week or 2, I'm hoping.
Is that job still posted?
Yes.
It is. Is there a deadline?
No. And although it's not under employment committee, I will add that we have a call with our interns on Thursday, a kickoff call with them. They've already gone through the training with the Fort County Community Foundation. So we'll be able to get them pointed in the right direction and get them working on some grants for us. Next is Shakespeare in the Village. I don't know if you have anything you want to throw out there right now, not to put you on the spot, but okay. So essentially the last communication that we've received is that we're just trying to identify the location. There were some dates that were thrown around between the Masonic Temple, the church downtown, you know, and so just trying to coordinate that. We're looking at the third weekend in October. So once we secure the main stage location, then everything else will kind of fall into place from there.
This is gonna be one setup, or you say main stage? This isn't roving or anything like that?
There's gonna be one, the plan is to have one main stage for scenes to be played out, but there will be other things happening throughout the district as
Okay.
well.
Okay, good. Yeah, my understanding was at least there'd be something going on,
Oh.
sort of like a roving
Yep,
introduction or what have you. So
yep,
that's-
and we talked about having just even different things like, some like strolling minstrels, different things happening throughout. But we have to have one set location of where they're gonna be able to do their scenes. All right, statement of support for occupancy permit, letter to review. So in your packet is the letter that was sent to the Planning Commission and the Village Council. At the last Village Council meeting, they,
That's for the pilot, right?
Oh, this is the
Oh,
pileup.
the pileup, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay,
You skipped
I
your
skipped a whole thing.
the occupancy.
Yeah, so the occupancy permit, this letter is still in process, but Paul did share with us
Yeah.
some, you want to talk about that?
Sure.
It's
So,
this packet that Paul put on here. Yeah.
Yeah, the one that's highlighted. I took the CBD guidelines of approved businesses and the off-street parking and loading. I kind of took these two and consolidated them into one and kind of highlighted some things. So you guys have the backup if you want to read them, and then a consolidated version. I know we're gonna issue a statement, just like we did with the pileup, which is great. I highlighted some businesses that we need to, you know, when we're looking at this, I think on Main Street, some of the professional and business offices that are on the first floor are probably our biggest culprits. And then some of the professional buildings that, to make sure that they received their special land use. There can be medical, but it needs to get a special land use. And I want you guys to look at a couple maps here that I printed out. If you open them up, I kind of gave everybody a copy of the kind of layout of the ordinance to show you where our area of concern is. It's the purple in the middle, and I know that this map sounds probably is not as important for all of you, but some of you maybe, just so we know what we're talking about, and it's the businesses along Main Street that we're mostly talking about. If you go to this blue map, the one with all the blue squares on it, the one that has a number 1 in the corner. So the businesses that wouldn't be in conformance are any of the blue squares that are along Main Street. That's my opinion and interpretation of the ordinance. Again, this has to be reviewed, but we can go through that. But I want to give you guys this information, so as we start talking about this, we all have some homework we can go and do. So when we do meet and we are reading the thing you put together, we all have the, kind of the backstory, so.
Yeah, this is great, thank you.
Yep.
And then in here too is the actual ordinances that outline permitted uses within the first floor Main Street location. So we definitely have some open buildings. We've got some more locations that are coming open here soon. So it's going to be, you know, something that's important for the DDA to assure that what goes into those empty spots is a conforming business so that we can maintain the downtown atmosphere, as well as assure that our ordinances are being followed within the village.
Of the 60-some big businesses that I looked at that are within our area of concern, only half of them fall within the current guidelines. So 33 businesses don't conform. Or if they do conform, they're off of Main Street, so they kind of conform, but they're ancillary businesses that don't really add any street value as far as merchants, as far as restaurants, items like that. So you guys can read that as your leisure, but that's why I printed it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Okay, now we're on PILOP update. So the letter here in your packet is the one that was sent to the Planning Commission and the Village Council. At the last Village Council meeting, the council agreed to put a hold on the fees associated with, the parking, down to $100 per spot versus the $10,500 per spot, until November.
October.
Oh, October 21st, sorry. Between now and then, the DDA board and the Village Council board will be having a meeting of both boards together to discuss the best plan of action going forward.
And right now, the two dates that are out there are June 20th and June 27th. So please take a look at we just received that, so take a look at your calendars and
If one of those days is
everything we
better.
can do to keep them open so that we're accommodating and can get this meeting going.
Yep.
Is this two meetings back to back or
Not
just one?
necessarily, it's gonna be one, but those were two dates that were thrown out, so trying to be flexible when it goes back to the board to say, yeah, we'll do either one.
There's a lot of people to get in the same place in June.
Right.
So
Right, yeah, right.
if we can keep them open, then that way, once, the more people that can be there, the better.
So on that item, a couple quick things. I printed again, if you guys want to look at the map that says parking on it, you guys all got that one?
Yep,
This is a highlight of all the public and private parking in the village, in our CDP, our CBD area. So you can see it is pretty immense. I know we talk about a parking issue that we have. This is why we need this pile-up to begin with, but actually, if you start looking at it, Romeo has a considerable amount of parking. It's just that it might not be relative to the exact downtown area. It might be a little bit farther out. And if you take that and you overlap it with the map that says number 1 on it, these businesses that are in the blue, like I talked about before, are businesses that are primarily open during the day. So these are, doctor's offices, professional buildings. So we don't have a lot of businesses that overlap into the night, so.
Or weekends.
Or
even.
weekends, right. So I think that really affects our parking in a good way. I know everybody says we have a parking issue, but I've never heard anybody actually dig into it and really, do we? Because we might have a parking lot filled on Main Street, but then if you go over to, say, Lafayette, is that lot empty? Who knows, you know?
Well, and I think instead of putting the $10,500 fee on a business owner, maybe the DDA, which I know we're gonna talk down, I think at some point today, but the wayfinding signs.
Right.
We may be able to absorb that cost and solve that issue while still encouraging people to do business in Romeo, which would be great.
Also, one thing I want to add, so we have to have something. It has to be a dollar amount. The reason why is that if you take the payment in lieu of off the books, you just say, okay, we don't want that at all. Well, that means that you have no real out if you can't meet the parking requirements, which then creates a whole nother problem. So if it says you need 2 parking spots and you only have 1, you have no way to fulfill that outside of,
Yeah.
Magically or, buying a lot or some sort of place within 300 feet of your building. So I think keeping the payment in lieu of is needed, but I like the fact that it's now down to a proportionate amount.
and I think we'd actually be able to get more money faster by
Right.
doing, the paid kiosks or whatever, not an actual meter at each spot, but paid spots.
Yeah.
Instead of waiting for drips and drabs of businesses to come in and be able to afford that much money.
Well, because as of now, the village has collected $0 in their payment of lieu of program.
Right.
So being more reasonable, yeah, we've got a chance to actually earn, raise some money.
And I think in our benefit, if we come to these meetings prepared to discuss what that money's really supposed to be used for, because when I sat in the last meeting, it did not seem like the board understood what that money was for. It's not for salt, it's not to plow the parking lots, that is our taxes that we pay for in being part of a downtown. That's already included, we're already paying for it. This money is something separate to buy, I guess, a building out so you can put a parking lot, which is not really realistic anyway. So what I suggest we do is come up with a realistic solution if there is a problem that exists to begin with. Because that would be my first question. Is there a problem that we even need to address? You know, I would rather see that money, instead of going into some account to buy a piece of property that you're never gonna buy, utilize it for something else. You know, I don't know what, but to have something in the books that has never been used, nor is probably ever gonna be used, and we have no real idea what we're gonna use it for. And in looking at this, and I don't understand how we get to the, where's the 10,500 actually listed at? Because I couldn't find it in anything.
It wasn't, it was just a, not an ordinance, what's in the letter? They voted on it in a
It
meeting.
was a resolution.
Thank you.
Okay.
Resolution,
In
that's the word I was
October
looking for.
Of 2021,
21?
I believe.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so,
So that's why they were able by resolution to change
Got
it
it.
down to the 100.
and in the meeting, one of the things they brought up, I think Megan brought it up, is Rochester has $1,000 pay. And their parking is immensely bigger than ours. And they have way more of a draw. Remember, we're trying to draw people to the village, not push them away. If to have something in the books just gives somebody an out, they still have to meet all the requirements. They still have to make an effort to do parking. I think that that's still important, but we don't want to make it such a financial burden where people are like, I'll just go somewhere
To
else.
Rochester.
They could go to
Let's go to
Rochester.
Rochester.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's it. This ordinance it hasn't brought a penny in, but it
Yeah.
has definitely scared people away. So we've lost potential
Right.
businesses, and have not earned money towards buying anything in the future.
And it's also kind of stunted any businesses for coming here till October, because nobody's really gonna invest, so they don't really know what that means. Because one thing they said at the end was, we are gonna do it till October, and if we don't come up with a resolution, it's gonna go back to the 10-5. So we need to be clear on the fact that when we go to these meetings as a team, we have to really push for something that makes sense, because if we don't do anything and we argue and fight, and it's gonna go back to what it was before, or it could get worse, where it can be something where they try to prorate it with every business and try to use for salt and stuff like that, which I've kind of heard too, which I think that would be a total disaster. I don't even know how you do that. 'cause
And I
think-
still don't think that you would be raising the amount of funds that we could raise with paid parking.
Right.
I mean, you're just not even gonna get close to it.
And with paid parking, it's so automated now.
Yeah.
That the idea that somebody's scared away from having to use an app, what do we have in life that doesn't have an app?
Right.
You know?
And they're so smart now with the technology, so you could say residents, their fee is half of what it normally is, or whatever. You could come up with whatever the things are, and handle it right within the app, so that it's not overburdening residents, or whatever the concerns are. And the kiosks are so small and thin now, you can brand it with Romeo. It looks, Romeo, downtown Romeo, and it goes against a building, it's thin,
Right.
Yeah.
So,
And in saying that, I think we just want to make sure that the businesses that are there don't get their parking abused by other businesses that sit there all day. That, park out in front of, Main Street and go to their office all day long. If you have a business there and it's not, something where, like people are coming in off the street, park in one of these outer lots.
And maybe
That's why I
that's something-
think wayfinding is a good idea.
Yeah.
And one of those outer lots could even be an employee parking lot.
Yeah,
And
I'm not
let that
opposed to
be a
that.
no-fee parking lot,
Right.
if you're gonna park further away and.
Right,
and-
and if
That's-
they want to pay,
Right.
then they can pay, but I feel like that will, and I talked with Danielle about this, I think it's a wonderful idea to give employees the option to park for free in an outer parking area and keep the ones close to the businesses open.
Yeah.
Because I know my parking's fine, but do you know where the people that work there, you know where they park? They park right there, the door.
Yeah.
And that's in my own little space, and I'm telling, no, park at the end, keep it open. So
Right.
this, to me, would be a
Yeah.
great idea to get for the employees. Yes, absolutely, free parking, you might have to walk a block, but
Right.
that's okay. Then you keep the parking open, and I think, Paul, what you're saying is right, spot on. And from what I've talked with Danielle with this is great, because you're just managing something. It's not like we don't have the parking, and like everybody keeps saying, it's just a management problem, and this is a wonderful way to manage it.
Yeah, and I think the parking meters, or however we decide, or what we decide, our biggest asset is Main Street. So keep Main Street open with cars that pay, they go in, they shop at your place, they get a coffee, then they leave. They're there for half an hour, they put the money in half an hour. We don't want the guy who has a real estate business is parking on Main Street in front of your building
Right.
all day long.
And that does happen.
It happens, because I have buildings in town where some construction companies park all day long along the entire street. Literally, every single parking spot is a construction vehicle. So it's abused.
Yes.
So I think the parking meter interior to the village, and then as we move out, maybe we have, some enforcement with some time restrictions, can't be there all the time. And then maybe we do have employee lots where you can, be there all day. Those might be on the outskirts. I'm also not opposed, honestly, to asking for help. If we need to ask the church, hey, can we utilize some of your parking? I know people have been against that. They're there, and we could benefit from that for employee parking. I don't think that's a bad idea.
So, yeah, it's not a bad idea at all. There's enough places that are open nights and
Right.
weekends, which is kind of when the big, supposed struggle is,
Right.
that we could partner with some of those places.
So what I'm saying is, we need to go into these meetings and get something hammered out.
Yeah,
This has
absolutely.
gone on from Romeo for way too long, and I'm not paying $10,000, and I have lots of properties in Romeo, and nor could I ask anybody else to do that in good faith. If we don't get this problem fixed, it just gets kicked down the road to the next group. So we need to be better and get it done. So
Agreed.
Agreed.
if I look at this parking, I'm like, there's not a problem. There is a solution to be had somewhere in this map, and we can figure it out.
I'll reiterate what we're all saying here right now. And what's really encouraging is that the trustees in their meeting, if you guys saw it, were open to a meeting including us as the DDA. So that's very encouraging. We need to take advantage of it, as Paul is saying. So these couple dates, were these given to us from the trustees?
Yeah.
And they are going to have the same two dates, and, I mean, this is only, 2 weeks away, if that.
Right,
Who-
those were.
Who's
those-
spearheading this, I'm assuming?
President Posnanski
Okay.
sent it to us as potential dates.
Okay,
And so I think we're whittling it down to what
It'll be
hopefully
one of
works
the
for
two
every, yeah,
dates.
one of the two dates, what it.
so their meeting's not for 2 weeks, are we gonna know before their meeting?
I think she's gonna try to,
Okay.
yeah, work that
Yeah.
out with them.
Because I think it's very important, as we're saying, and all of us as a DDA, let's get there, whatever we gotta do. And
Agreed.
it's going to take, I believe, a multiple pronged solution. It's not one single solution, charge everybody, or build parking lot. It's multiple solutions, so my only words would be, don't be shy, come with an idea.
Yeah.
Stupid
We have the wind
idea,
at our
not-
sail,
not-
for
not
sure.
Yeah.
Stupid idea or not, let's put it out there, let's hammer it out, as
Yeah.
Paul says, we gotta get something done. I can tell you from experience, as a DDA board member and as a business owner, we're losing time every day with businesses coming in, growing the area, which is what we all need, at least I should say, although as business owners need, we just need more people coming in. Whatever your business is, it draws people. The more we have, the better we all do. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'll just go
You ready?
add one more thing. I think one of the key parts that we're gonna try to figure out is what is the goal we're trying to accomplish? Because it tends to be different depending on what we're talking about. Is it that we have a parking management issue and we're trying to fix that, or we don't at some point, or what are we trying to fix? It feels like we keep kind of like, slapping Band-Aids on it,
Right.
instead of, what is the objective? What are we trying to fix? Let's, like you said, John, might be a multi-pronged approach to get that one objective
Absolutely.
accomplished.
So you gotta do, we've talked about the past, we're in the present, so we're gonna do presently, and then we have to have goals. What are those goals, and how do we get to them?
Yeah.
And I think we, go in as a united front and saying, this is, these are the solutions, and,
Yeah.
know.
With knowledge as our ally.
Absolutely.
I would like for somebody to search, and maybe this is available or not. Where does the money come for salting, plowing? Is that something listed somewhere that we can look up? I don't want that thrown at us again that say, we want to be clear on what the funds are used for, what they can't be, and what we're already paying for. Because in my opinion, we're already paying for those. That's a tax
It's
benefit.
happening regardless.
Yeah, it's
Right.
happening. All the people of the village have already paid for that, you know, by their tax bill. So now we go down to, like you said, is what's the outcome of this money? What are you gonna do with it? Are you gonna really buy property? Show me on a map some available property that would ever come available in our area. If that's not a realistic, then let's go, okay, let's make this something where we can make money from it as a village. That sounds way better to me as a business guy, is how do we benefit from this, and also the residents benefit? They get to park close, maybe they pay some ancillary amount. It's very, I don't know, parking to me has never been an issue at any other
Right.
downtown that I go at. It's just part of the deal, and actually I kind of like it because I get to park where I want, pay some money. If you want to not pay, you park a little bit farther
Further, right.
away. So it gives people options. But yeah.
I would also encourage the board to really go through what Paul has provided and read the ordinance, so that when we do meet, we really have our head wrapped around all the nuances of it.
Yeah.
And that we are sticking to the
Facts.
task at hand,
Yeah.
yeah, instead of kind of,
Yep.
we can get off in different directions sometimes, but we really have to have a strong understanding, so when we're with the village council, we can keep the conversation on point and be speaking to specific points that are in here, and stay where we need to stay so we can get a solution.
And also, I think we can't get bogged down in how things used to be or what we've done in the past. We tried parking meters in the 60s and that didn't work. Okay, it's 2024.
They're
We
different
can't
now.
always view today on what happened in the past. We can use it as a marker, but we want to trudge our own path as a village and make good decisions for the future. We utilize the past, but I think that was different times. And if you go back and from the people I've talked to in the village, that was doomed from day one. I don't think they had a good idea of how to manage that whole animal. I think today with today's technology, it becomes way more easier. So I don't want to get bogged down in these meetings. I know it's going to happen because we are a village that really looks to history that we talk about today. You know, how we're going to move
It's-
forward.
Apples and oranges, I mean,
Yeah,
just the technology alone makes it not even the same conversation.
right. Okay, that's all I got.
All right, ladies, you're up, Vintage Fest update.
Everything's clipping along pretty good. We gave you a few changes of things I just gave you there.
Yep.
With things going on. Just a couple of things. We now have 10 market vendors, which is pretty much what we could probably handle due to the fact of the permission that we got from the businesses. So it worked out perfectly. We had enough businesses to place the vendors that came forward. So, so that worked out pretty well, and it's diverse, and we have a map, we've already mapped it out where they're gonna go to make sure there's no conflict with the business, with the vendor that we're putting in front of them there. Lisa Joseph from the high school, she's a art teacher there. She might possibly be a vendor. They want to sell some of the pottery that the children have made, kids have made. She's just waiting on anything, volunteers to do it. Not a big deal if she comes in, I've got somewhere she can go. The new restaurant that opened last week, where Yum Yum Thai used to be, she had approached Marty and myself about she wants to do some to-go items from her restaurant. So we kind of thought the best place to put her would be at the end of the alley because the road would be blocked. And then that way she has a clear path to kind of refill as she goes along. So
Real quick question, you said the alley's gonna be
Main
blocked?
Street
well,
is
Main
shut.
Street will be
Okay,
closed.
oh,
So
but not the side by you?
Well, it's in front of Main Street, you
It's in
can't get
front.
down there,
So like where
Did we
the,
contact
where the
the-
alley is?
because Main Street is completely shut down, you
just-
you
you
can't
can't
get
get
in there.
They can
Yeah.
get to it and exit from my parking lot or
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
and go
Okay,
that
I
way.
just want to make sure we're covered.
That's a one-way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
in.
one-way, that no
Okay.
one can, yeah, because it's one-way, nobody can go up and down there because
Just-
they can't go onto Main Street.
Just to be sure, fire, emergency vehicles. I mean, it's mapped out as an access, so they need to be informed if they're not gonna be able to use that. And I
Well,
know
Main
Main
Street-
Street's
Main
closed,
Street's
but
closed.
emergency vehicles still gonna
It's
be
always
able-
closed when Main Street's closed.
I think they put, DPW puts barricades
They,
there.
they
Okay,
barricade
As long
it.
as they're
Yep,
notified,
yep.
that's all.
That's
Yep.
all. It's
Okay.
already been
Just
taken care of.
making sure we
Yep.
don't hear about it later.
Yeah, well, might anyway. So anyway, we're gonna put them there, so that'll be easy, quick access for that, so
Great.
with that. Let's see, do have a question though. So we've got enough of the porta-johns to actually put in 3 different areas. So placement of those, and you can maybe talk about that later, or tell me where to put them.
So I believe from last year, I think you have to get approval from the village, so you'd have to go to talk to Clerk Trapp and just let her know
Which, okay.
where they're gonna go.
Yeah.
So we had to get an approval, correct?
I don't recall, I know it had to be in the original permit, but I
Yeah.
don't know if
Yeah,
it
'cause I
specifically said here,
Believe we
here.
put- Yeah.
Yeah.
We put them in there, but we just don't know where
Yeah.
to actually put them.
Where
We
they're gonna be
figured
set.
over where the children's activities
There's
are.
like
Somewhere by the
one.
park.
And then I
Yeah.
know, last year we had them, well, in the parking lot where Four Corners and all that is, on the medium there. And then the third one, again, not sure, because we figured because we have a lot of activities going on the south side
Could
of
we
Main
put
Street.
it, like maybe at the back end alley of the south?
By Washington,
By Washington Street?
that's what I was thinking. So
Okay.
it'd be Washington, St. Clair, and then
Because then we,
Newberry.
so they'd be kind of like north,
Staggered.
south, and,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe,
Yeah.
and then each one, so we'll have, and there'll be a handicapped one at each one of them.
Oh,
too.
nice, okay.
So he kind of threw that in,
Cool.
so that was nice to there, so, and then
Not-
also there'll be two.
Sorry, not to keep throwing darts here, just so you're aware, southeast is all torn up. I'm sure it will be Saturday,
Mhm.
as far as the road repairs.
Yeah,
So what you're talking about is probably gonna need to be west of Van Dyke. Just keep that in mind.
okay,
Yeah, like
You know what I'm
where
saying?
Ace is.
Where Ace
it's all
is, like right in
torn
there.
up, yeah.
That's
Next to
all torn up.
FAM's.
Yeah.
yeah.
Lafayette.
I was
We
thinking
would
of the
like
west side.
west side.
Yeah,
West
west
side
side
where
it
the
should be fine.
condominiums are.
Yep.
That's what I was thinking, Patton Manor, yeah.
Yeah.
Pat Manor, that's it, I
Yeah.
couldn't remember that, yeah, so maybe
again,
like in
just-
there.
Just so you know, whether it's Porta Johns or anything else,
Yeah.
that whole southeast is all torn up.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
So-
I had to park and walk to Ace.
Oh, no. What?
Oh,
It
okay,
didn't bother you,
and
did
let's
it?
see what else.
Just
Nick Antonucci, he's the one that's heading up the car show. He's met with the police chief about the road closures and everything, so
Cool.
he's been in contact with that, just to double check. With that, instructional emails are gonna be sent out on Wednesday to the car registrations and vendors.
How many cars do you have covered?
Well, right now, and I'm gonna,
Oh.
that'll be Marty. I'll let her talk
Marty,
about
yeah.
that, because we have some registered, and then we'll probably have a lot
Well,
that
I-
register that day.
I got 7 or 8 today, just today.
Great.
But I
They're
didn't
waiting
get
for the
that.
weather,
They do.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good
Don't
day.
blame them. Yeah.
so, but yeah, that's it. We've got a lineup for the entertainment from, the mobile library will be open at 10:30 all the way till, at 6 o'clock. You know, we've got everything scheduled as it is. We'll hope that, pray for no rain.
Did you have anything to say for the kids area?
Yeah, if
I
you
don't
want
want to leave her out.
Yeah, if you want to tell them about the
So-
children's activities.
Yeah, I think we've got a lot going on for the kids. It's going to be fun. We've got a bounce house, we've got an obstacle course that's going to be kind of for like toddler to 3, 4 years old, you know, little tunnel to run through and whatnot. Very excited about a lineup of 3 musicians, a 16-year-old girl, and Nico, I think, is 9-year-old boy, who's just this country singer, he's great, and then a 10-year-old girl. So we think that's going to be kind of fun, you know, with, the kids can relate to their peers. And then we're going to have some photos with the Queen. We've got a magician balloon guy who's going to be strolling around and doing that. We've got free face painting that will be from 11:30 to 2:30. And then we have some different little kids' games that Megan has put together. So, bubble blowing and what you call it?
Hula hoop?
Like the duck
Hula hoop?
pond?
No, well, the duck pond things, but
Yeah.
the rubber, or the plastic thing you put around.
Hula hoop.
Hula hoop.
Hula hoops, thank you. I thought you were saying balloons.
That's how I thought
I
it
just said
was.
balloons. I
That's
can't
what a
hear.
hula hoop does.
Anyway, so, and then we've got one of the kids that's going to be singing, she also has her own little snow cone machine.
Oh,
So
cute.
she's going to have some snow
Paisley.
cones out there, but,
Cute.
so, yeah, so it
Yeah,
should be a fun
It's
time.
gonna be really
Yeah,
cool.
great.
But
I
no
wanna hang out in
trucks,
the kiddie
and no
area.
tractors and no trains.
But it starts at 10:30 with the mobile library,
Yeah.
right? And then from 11 to 4, like she said, the bounce house, obstacle course, kiddie games, magician. From 11 to 12, let's see, we have, is it Blue Sky Riley? Blue Sky Riley performs from 11:30 to 2:30. It's the free face painting. 12 to 1,
Nico Brown.
and then he performs, and then from 1 to 2, Paisley performs, and then 2 to 4, photos with the Peach Queen. So that's
Awesome.
all right there for the children's activities.
Do we know, we probably should let everybody know what time they're actually closing the roads down?
The roads will be closed at 9:30, and then they will be reopened at 7 with that. South Main Street was the car show, street market vendors, the DJ. Again, this all starts at 12 o'clock. Wolfman Mac, right, in the parking lot of JL's Barbecue, and then a photo booth will be on South Main. North Main Street will have the main stage opening ceremony at 12 o'clock, and then from 12 to 6, the Chamber of Commerce and Masonic Temple both are going to be having their beer and wine, being tents. From 12 to 1, Doug Bowen Music. From 1 to 3, the Fives, it's classic rock. And then 4 to 6, the third time is a charm, the Heartbreakers. At 4:45 is when we'll announce the winners at the main stage of the car show. So we'll be passing out the ballots from, obviously from 12 to 3:30. They'll have to turn them in at the main stage. So that's what we've got there so far, but I will let you,
Yeah.
I'll hand that over to you on how many cars that we've got going
Well,
on.
like I said, I didn't count the 7 or 8 today because I had to run out the door, but we're up to about 60 right now
Wow.
Registered.
registered, and many more that I actually ran out of applications or the forms today. So I had to go print some more off, but I have some more people coming on Wednesday, so, yeah.
Great.
We have first, second, third, People's Choice Prize, and in between, we have raffles going on. We have a couple wine baskets, some gift certificates, T-shirts, just in between.
Yeah.
Fun.
Just all the in-between stuff.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Awesome, nice job.
Thank you.
Good job.
thank you.
Attorney RFP.
Well, I'm sure you all went through the 29 pages of riveting RFP for attorneys. This is essentially the RFP that the village uses. Obviously, I had to make some changes so that it applied to the DDA, not the village. So if this looks like what we think we need, then we can put it out. If you guys want more time to review it, more in depth, we can table it. And
How do you put this out? Do you have a list of law firms you're sending this to?
there is a site now that's gonna skip my mind right now, that they go on to.
A
Okay.
Michigan
Yeah.
municipal
Oh,
type
okay.
site, yeah.
Got it.
Our current legal services are, what, just à la carte, month to month? What's
It's an
the-
hourly rate.
Just hourly rate right now?
And the rates went up.
The rates went up.
And is that until a
Expensive.
certain date, or is that until we tell them we're not?
There's no
No
contract.
need, no contract. This RFP says issued August 1st.
There's just a date thrown on there.
So if we want to do this, we can immediately, right? We can issue immediately? All right, I'll make a motion to
Real quick,
move.
let me ask a question.
I'm making a motion.
What's your motion? I just gotta ask a question about it.
To post this RFP for legal services, and I would put a date of, I don't know, I like even numbers, June 15th to issue this, would be my motion.
Okay, so there's a motion. If there's a second, then we can do discussion.
So what is, I couldn't,
His motion is to accept this RFP with June 2nd.
Oh
I'm
my
sorry.
God.
June
June-
15, issue this by June 15.
So I will second the motion,
Okay.
and then we'll open it up for discussion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Paul.
Paul?
My question, I didn't have a chance to read the entire thing. Do we have any stipulations in here on their response time? Because that seems to be the biggest issue we had with our last law firm, is their response time was horrible.
Yes, I believe there is.
There was something in.
There is something in here. I just gotta find it.
In saying that, I just want to make sure as a smaller municipal group that we get the responses as we need.
Yeah, it says the firm shall establish and maintain a communication plan to provide consistent and clear advice regarding all matters assigned to the firm. Through this plan, access to the lead attorney and subject matter experts identified for assignment with this contract shall be provided to ensure timely response to requests for services. And then it kind of continues into more detail. And it says, I believe in here somewhere, that if the lead attorney is not available, there's supposed to be a backup attorney that we have access to.
As long as there's some verbiage in there about the fact that they have to
Yeah.
be responsible for getting back to us. You know, obviously, the rates and everything will be reviewed and all the other important aspects, but I think responding has been the biggest bugaboo we've had with
Yep.
the other firms, so.
Agreed.
And if I can just point out, the motion is just to get this published, to get this issued.
Right.
We're not hiring, we're not,
Yep,
you know,
good.
signing
Yeah.
anybody, but
This allows us to start.
let's get started with something. If we keep putting these off 30-day increments, next thing you know, it's gonna be next year before we see if there's anybody out there.
Okay. So we have
Especially with having these events, so our law firm represents us as a group if something happens at these events? Or is that covered by somebody else?
well, I mean, we have insurance,
Okay,
but if we did need to, we could use them for that. I mean, they're more of a governmental attorney, so
Okay.
they're more about the DDA law. But yeah, like in, the firm that we have now, they have divisions. There's like an employment division that we've used for employment contracts, job offers, that sort of thing. And then there's someone that's specifically on DDA law. So we could, I mean, if we were sued, we could reach out to them and say, we'd like
Okay.
you to represent us.
so you have somebody,
Yes.
might not be the person you want long-term, but it's somebody.
But yeah,
Okay.
yep.
where it says timely response, their timely response is probably different than what we want to be as a timely response. I'm thinking maybe we should put like a time, you know, a certain amount of, you know,
Well-
48 hours, 3 days, 6 days, I don't know. I just
I
don't
mean, I
want them to
think
say their timely
difficult.
response is 2 weeks.
I agree, but I think depending on the topic,
Right,
there may be things that are a turnaround, same-day response, and there may be things that are just,
How about communication?
communication was,
Like maybe
yeah,
some sort of a even if it's maybe just letting us know what's happening.
yeah.
right, and I agree, I just want to remind everybody, because this happened with our current attorneys, is every email you're
Right.
charged for.
Now,
So
I-
how much communication we want, we're paying for every back and forth.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
So
That
it
can
could
get
get
out of
ugly
control.
real quick,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's where we.
It's kind of a
Yeah.
double-edged sword, yeah.
Yeah,
because we did see that on some of our invoices. It was, we read an email, we responded, we read an email.
Yeah, it's $150,
Yeah.
$300.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but if we have to vote on this, but this at least gets it out there, and then
I agree, yeah.
we can review the proposals that are
I'm with
submitted.
John, let's get it
Yeah.
going.
So,
Yeah.
do you want to take roll?
Saint Laurent,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Oswald,
Yes.
Hutnick,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Rose, yes. Motion carries.
All right, holiday decor. In front of you, everyone should have the holiday decor little packet that was sent to you. The plan, as discussed by the board, was to approach it with more of a winter wonderland theme that would get us through a little bit further into February than just a Christmas theme. So what you see in front of here would be the pillars. We did with an average of 100 posts in the village, 50 of them receiving the lit half snowflake, 50 of them receiving the navy blue snowflake banner, all of them wrapped with lighted garland. In all three alleyways, it would have the swag lit garland and the snowflake, turned on its side, so it's matching the posts. In the pots throughout town and the cement form that's in front of the masons, that would have fresh greens, the navy blue ribbons, and the birch poles. The birch poles are reusable. They're not real birch, so that's something that's salvageable.
Can I just clarify, the pots that you're talking are not the ones on the poles, but the ones that are?
Yeah, there won't be any
Okay.
greens on pots on the poles.
Amen.
So these are the big orange ones. And then in the park, in addition to the snow globes, which we need to repurchase for this year, we have the snowflakes that'll be hung within the gazebo. The final page kind of goes through the pricing. We budgeted $70,000. This pricing as is coming at $53,900. That's not including the fresh green for the pots. That'll be an additional cost. And the only other kind of one-off is the lit garland. There is a lit garland with the pine cones and without, and we'll be going with whatever ones matches. So we have white versus a yellow and a white light. So, and then the snowmen, that is not on here, that the DDA owns will also be in the village park. So it's just pushing the snowman, winter wonderland theme throughout. We will coordinate with the DPW for installation of the posts and the flags and the hanging of the garland. We would like to place the order by the end of this month. Install would be the last week of November, removal approximately the second week of February. And then additionally, we would be working with the social media to launch a media campaign highlighting the new look for downtown, as well as promoting participation from, the community. And then the last page here, you have a letter that I just drafted that we would be sending to the businesses and building owners in the district approximately July, August, letting them know what the theme's gonna be and, encouraging them to take part in that theme and keep that look going throughout the downtown area.
Are we gonna be able to hit up like some of the, like 30 St. Clair going down a little bit?
Every poll every poll would be done in the district, yep.
So, a few questions here. First of all, you referenced the pots that are being used for the flowers currently, which transition into mums. They're not gonna be used in this at all.
No,
What are we gonna do with them?
store them till spring,
So they will have to come down again,
correct.
which we last year left them up to save that money. So there's a money issue, just so we know. Removal and reinstall.
Right.
Just, I don't know what that cost is. But,
And I agree with you, we are 20,000 under budget. So there is the money there to do that,
Just-
is needed.
pointing, okay,
Yeah.
so that's not listed on here, that we'll need to find. This references coordinate, DPW, right? Not
It is
DWP.
DPW, or the
Not-
DWP,
Or DWP, either one?
Either way.
Whoever's available.
whoever wants to do it.
Charge to be determined. Do
Mm-hmm.
do we have an idea? I mean,
Yes,
we
we do.
got to know a little bit more of what we're looking for. And also, is this something that DPW is capable of doing? And
Tim would be thrilled.
Pardon?
Tim would be thrilled.
To be a part
Tim
of
would be
this.
thrilled. Well, we had a wonderful, what'd they try to put up in the park?
Oh, the igloo?
The
The
igloos.
igloo.
I'm not gonna hire him for that. but
Didn't work
for
out very
others.
well.
But they have experience with
You
banners.
say you have an answer for that, but then also, what about the rest of this install? This is all included by whoever this is?
This is, they would be installing the lights, the garland,
The DPW will be installing?
the lights and the banners,
Okay,
and then we would have someone install the garland.
someone, so we will need somebody to
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
install.
and we might be even having volunteers do that, but it'll be very nominal amounts.
And, okay,
Maintenance, banner install and maintenance, so included in there in this check was a little bit of maintenance that was done, but essentially is $582 to put up banners. So, just gives you an idea if that's just the banners. If every other pole, they're doing a light and a banner, the hours might go up a little bit. But that's roughly.
Is this gonna be substantially more visual than what we had last year? Because I think we talked through that, we thought it was pretty poor last year.
Yeah, that's
As
why
a
we
group.
made the change, essentially, was, these are, I think they're 3 to 4 feet tall.
Okay.
That are gonna be,
It's hard to get perspective.
Yeah,
Are
it
these
is.
gonna be, I
they're,
want it
and
to
this
be,
is,
you know,
this is from, a commercial Christmas outdoor company. I mean, they do the San Diego Zoo, they do,
oh, good.
you know, so this is not, running to Target and picking
Yeah.
out some decorations. Yeah.
Okay, good. We talked about the lights from that businesses put on their building. Are we gonna try to discourage that this year? And try to make some consistency? Because when everybody does something different, it just looks like a mess.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of
And
what
I know we
this-
can't stop people from doing things,
Right.
but maybe in the
Well,
letter,
The letter, I think, kind of explains that we're asking people to, kind of embrace the theme.
yeah,
Maybe the ones that are putting lights in the building would go with a clear light
a
versus
white
the
light, yeah,
color.
or something, yeah.
So they can still have that look, but really trying to give the downtown a cohesive
Yeah,
vibe throughout.
right. Yeah, that would be cool. We talked about maybe stringing lights across. I'm assuming that takes too much effort, having to get,
It's very
Multiple
difficult, because I
different
wanted to do
entities
something like this
involved.
across.
yeah.
It's very difficult,
Okay.
yeah.
So do we have any ideas what to utilize the rest of the budget with, or are we just gonna wash it into something else? I know we really want to be all in on Christmas,
Yeah.
or just a
greens.
winter spirit type.
So there will be more greens, the live greens
Mm-hmm.
will be purchased.
And labor.
In labor, so we're at 54 right now. Once we put in all of our labor up and down, giving a little bit money for, unforeseen things like a broken bracket that we have to replace. We gotta pay for the baskets to come down. I think we're gonna be pretty close. If there's any, money left in the budget, we can always revisit and maybe, add a little bit more to the village park and
Cool.
do some
Yeah.
greens out there.
what's the total budget?
70.
70.
And do we know, and I should know this, what was this past year's total spend?
I, do you have the budget with you? And just quickly too, while she's looking that up, this is all sustainable.
Reusable,
Yeah.
yeah, because last year probably we're reusing some old stuff, I'm
Well, it was
assuming.
all green, fresh greens that
Oh,
were
okay.
wrapped. So other than the fresh greens in the pots and in front of the Masonic Temple, everything here is commercial grade, and you should be able to get 10 to 12 years.
Oh,
If
okay.
if the theme lasts that long,
Mhm.
the product will last that long.
$14,000.
I was gonna say 14,
Yeah.
but I wasn't real sure.
And that was all not reusable,
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever that word
Yeah.
is that I want to use.
one and done.
So our color scheme is kind of white and blue?
White and blue, that kind of was the discussion of the board was to go more with the winter wonderland than like a Christmas.
Right.
So that if we do have, Winterfest, it kind of flows over. If decorations, we want to hold out until February, it still has that snow theme versus,
Yeah,
Santa, which
Yeah.
is done by the 1st.
yeah.
So essentially, where we're at now is the budget's been approved. It's really just looking to see if the board likes this look and decor, and if so, we can proceed with ordering.
I like this, I like the look.
Yeah.
I'm hung up on the budget, which I know the budget was approved, but I would like to see that we save out of this budget that we've approved enough to get back to where we will need to in the springtime,
Which is,
while reinstalling.
oh, okay, yeah, we can,
Reinstalling the pots, the rings, whatever it takes to get it. If next spring we're gonna do flowers again.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're
I'm
saying.
not saying we're going to, but it seems like every year we are, so.
yeah,
if
no,
we're-
I think we, yeah.
If we're gonna do something that's gonna cost more next spring out of that budget, I think we need to take it out of this budget, since this is
The big one.
yeah.
Yeah, I think we
Does
can.
that make sense?
Yeah, and I think where we're at, that's not gonna be a problem.
I'd make a motion to purchase this.
I second. I like it. It looks modern, looks cool. Still has a historic theme. I like it.
So we'll do roll call.
Real quick, on another note, the snowman, can you guys, I wasn't here last year, part of the board. What do we do with the snowman?
So the snowmen, some of them the DDA owns, some of them merchants own.
Okay.
The ones that they own, obviously, they can do as they please with them. The plan for this was to, the ones that the DDA owns, probably clean them up. They probably need a fresh coat of paint. And then kind of cluster them in the village park.
Okay,
Just use them, probably put some black eyes and the face on it. Keep them really simple. Maybe do like a blue scarf and just maybe put a little snowman family in the park, so it's kind of like a picture station.
Sure, yeah.
Something like that.
the other ones they vote on, which they like better? Is that
They
what-
did that the
They
first 2
did
years.
that 1 year or
First
2 year.
Yeah.
But they haven't done anything more after those first 2 years. So it's really just if you own one and you want to use it in your decor at your business,
Yeah.
it's yours to do.
What percentage of the businesses use those?
They were pretty expensive, if I recall, so I don't think it's.
I don't think
Not
there's a
very many
lot.
businesses have
Yeah.
them, I don't believe.
No, I think there's maybe
8,
5, 6,
7,
7.
something like
Yeah,
that.
it's not a lot.
There's not a lot.
They were really expensive.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were $600.
Just looks, just to have consistency.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it's something we do as a group, that we provide them, but if somebody owns them, I guess you can't stop them from putting them out, but, just less stuff.
Yeah.
Just looks cluttery, but.
And it's something we may, we can refer to the list of who owns them, and maybe it's something that they would be willing to, if they're not using it, that the DDA can use it and put it,
Yeah.
just keep them,
It would be nice if
Really
we did-
simple.
Yeah, we could make them simple and make them look cohesive with.
Yeah.
so they all look, yeah.
So they all look the
that's-
same.
And
That's
kind
what
of
I
spread
thought.
them throughout.
Everybody doing
Snowman,
something different,
blue
somebody does
scarf,
something
and
really
call it
good.
done.
We could
Somebody
make it
doesn't
a
put
community
anything.
event and have the kids come and decorate them.
But that, you're not gonna get consistency.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah, so,
but it'd be awful cute.
okay, roll call, unless there's any more questions.
I would just like to state, these have to be ordered in June, based on what
We
this
should be
tells me.
getting moving, yeah. But do you wanna make your motion with including the put back up of the hoops?
Yes, I'll make my motion to include the put back up of the hoops. at the
Whatever,
end.
however that's worded.
Taking down. and then
Getting
putting
them
back
ready
up.
for the next thing.
Yeah.
The
I,
spring flowers.
Yeah.
Let's give you help and use the term.
How many of those do we have?
Reinstall,
I
Reinstall.
like putting back up.
putting back up.
How many of those are there?
How many?
How many hoops or how many
Yeah.
poles?
how many things we have to take down and put back
How
up.
many planners do we have?
Yeah,
Well, some of them are halves and some of them
Yeah.
are the whole thing, but there's
Like
roughly
20
100
some.
poles.
Yeah.
there wouldn't be a benefit to maybe decorating within those, so we just leave them up.
Well, then, it's, I mean, you're gonna have those up, garland, all
Okay.
that, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
then
So it would be too much,
Too
so it
much.
makes sense to take them down, that's
Yeah,
all I'm
yeah.
asking. Because you got other things that are going in, so.
Yeah.
And also the unknown, sorry, I'm Mr. Tough tonight. The unknown of the install, we really just don't know. I mean.
Yeah, well, it won't
the
exceed.
willingness and the
Mhm.
amount
Yeah.
of the install. So not to exceed, obviously, our budget.
Our
which
budget of
includes
70,000,
all the
yes.
reinstall, the hardware that we'll be needing for this. spring.
Correct.
Yes, correct.
Did you still second it? Did you second it, Kathy?
I think-
I seconded it.
Yeah.
Do you second it with my changes?
Yes, with your changes. That would be Kathy Oswald. That is seconding Danielle.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Okay. Saint Laurent,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes?
Oswald,
Yes.
Hutnick,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes,
Rose, yes, 6-0 passes.
good job getting the quotes, by the way.
Thank you. Logos. We've used all of our revisions up, guys.
And I will, yeah, I will tell you,
This is it.
in color, it's red
Yes.
and black.
I think they added,
I think it looks good.
Yeah,
I think it represents us better,
Mm-hmm.
historic, and have our established date. I like
Yep.
it better.
so I'm just gonna throw it out there. I'm gonna make a motion to adopt, number 5 as the logo, that, where it says historic downtown is in black, and the letters Romeo are in red.
I was gonna say that one, but I didn't, because of that one. Yeah, historic downtown, yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion to adopt this as our new logo. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second that, looks great.
Okay, any discussion?
The only thing I would, and I know you guys like it, but the peach is cool, you know, it just may be too much, but it was very, I know it's gonna look good, so. The colors you said are black and red? Okay, I like it.
The banner here is black.
Yeah.
And then, just
Yeah.
as an example, though, when you do the, like, when we go to do the holiday decor, like this banner, if we add the logo, it would be in all white.
Okay.
You know, so just whatever to match kind of what we're doing.
And they would be willing to work with us too when we do that, to change the peach to maybe a Christmas ornament.
Oh,
We
that's
wouldn't
cool.
want that because it's
What
more
would
of a
be all
snowflake,
white
but it
banner?
could, but that's the
The
idea.
logo
maybe
itself,
do a
so
pumpkin
depending
or
on, like even
something.
for
Yeah,
Christmas,
good
or I
idea.
mean for Halloween, when we do the Halloween banners,
Could be a pumpkin.
it's a pumpkin,
Oh.
and maybe
Yeah,
it's,
this
you
can
know,
always
That's what we were talking
Yeah.
about, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ask the printer if these little details within the background are gonna come up when we do print stuff?
the feedback was that this would print much better
Okay.
than what,
I know before it was
Original.
really
It was
detailed.
really
We're gonna
detailed,
take
yes,
More of
yes.
that out, but it still looks pretty detailed, as long as
Yes.
they're confident that it won't look like a big
Yep.
blob, you know?
Okay, so we have a motion, a second. Any other discussion? You want to take roll on this?
You got it. Saint Laurent,
Yes.
Lee,
yes.
Oswald.
Yes.
Hutnick.
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Rose, yes, passes.
All right, moving on to new business, Vintage Fest budget amendment.
So in your packet, you have, similar to what Kathy provided, was an updated one, but this one is as of when the finances were done for this month. So essentially where we're at, the very last page, you can see our initial budget was $7,700. Total spent, which includes payments made by sponsors
Yep.
to vendors, is $11,221. So we will need a amendment to the Vintage Fest budget for the $3,521 in order to continue to write checks and pay some of the remaining stuff we have out there. So you can see the second page, total paid by donations was Wolfman Mac, Sound Dog, the Bounce House, face painting, The Magician, trophies, and printing by Giordano. We still owe a little bit of money to Giordano, so that's not fully paid. And then I've listed the sponsors kind of at the bottom where I have received a check and deposited. There were some more that came in that weren't deposited at the time of doing this. But we still need to make an amendment to the Vintage Fest budget of $3,521.
Okay, you said total spend, which includes donations? Or does not include?
It does include,
So we budgeted 7,700.
correct,
We spent 11,221.
correct.
But we collected 4060.
In donations.
Where's the 4060?
It was paid to the vendors directly.
Is the 4060 in the 11,221?
Yes,
So wouldn't it be 11,221 minus 4060?
no, because I'm adding up the total amount that was spent on Vintage Fest, regardless of who paid it, because the board approved a budget to be spent of $7,700.
Right, but donations means 4060, right? Should offset the spend.
Right, but we need to adjust the line item on our budget.
Walk me through it a little more, Jen.
You can't take 4060 and add it to the 770 for the budget. This is what I'm looking at, right?
That 4060's already been paid out through the donations.
Right, so, but that's part of, but we budgeted 7,700.
Right.
Correct.
Great, 4060, we offset 70, of that 7,700.
But they went over budget.
So we,
But it
the
was paid through
board, the
donations.
board,
4060 comes in, and we use it to pay the bills.
Right.
This looks like the 4060 didn't come in.
it did not. It was paid directly to the vendors.
So,
So on the front, on the first page, John, where it says DDA approved budget, $7,700, this says expenses to be paid by DDA. This entire list is $7,161. So this is what the DDA is literally writing a check and paying,
Right.
okay? And then the additional $4,060 was paid by outside sponsors directly to the vendors.
But that's not how it works.
correct.
Correct.
You don't take money in to add to what we
Correct.
approved for a budget.
Right.
So now I see, now I understand.
Okay.
I see what we're looking at,
And
that's not,
plus, that, John, there's more money still coming in as well.
Yeah.
Right, but in,
That's not
yes.
in, not in here.
but what John's saying is, we shouldn't do it that way. We can't accept money and then add it to our budget.
we're-
We should have only, if that money should have offset, then we should have only been writing checks for the 3,000, because 4,000 of it was collected. The event should not have exceeded 7,700.
So this, what we're looking at right here is what we had when we did the finances for this meeting. There's still some more, like Kathy said, that's coming in. I don't have those final numbers included in this, obviously, that we had for today. My concern is we have made commitments to these vendors. And in order for us to be able to write checks, this board needs to approve us writing those checks with the understanding that, you know, a lot of this was offset by sponsors. But we have to say that I can write these checks. So,
Okay, I have a question. I don't know. So where is the $3,000 going to, the checks that you're writing? I'm just really confused, because I thought the sponsors and the money that we raised, they paid for all the extras.
But
They're paid
right,
for.
and I get what you're saying, but it should have, there was no extras. It could only be $7,700. So when those sponsorships came in, it needed to be deposited into the DDA account and then a check written by us. So if the DDA had written all of these checks for everything that we have, we'd be at the $11,000, which is over budget. So the extra stuff that we wanted to do is, you know, it's great, except the board didn't approve that expenditure. And I can't write any more checks that we have outstanding because we're over budget.
So, and not to be off topic of this item, but this goes back to, we have a set sponsorship program. And so when someone wants to be a DDA sponsor, they need to follow the approved sponsorship program. They can't just pay one-off invoices or bills for the DDA. It would be a case of go to the website, choose your sponsorship level, you write a check, we deposit it, and that's what the board approved as a sponsorship program.
So in the future, we have to keep it at the budget, which is what we did. We went to the 7,200, or it was for 7,700. So then, to pay for the extras, we sought donations
Right. But that's
to
where.
pay for that.
But you don't. If
But
you
we
have,
cannot
the
do
event
that.
is a DDA event, and if the DDA says we're gonna spend $7,000, then that's what we can spend. We can't go to an outside person and say, we wanna do more. It's what the board agrees to put towards that event. So same thing with Christmas decorations. The board agreed to 70,000. I can't go to, you know, a company and say, I'd like to also do this, do you wanna, you know, pay for that? We can't. That's where we kind of went askew here. So since this is where we're at, we now need to, you know, make it right as far as, you know, assuring that the money is allocated in the budget so that the line item in the budget, instead of showing the 7,700, needs to show the 11 that we actually spent.
And because I don't have, you know, I wasn't able to look in, stuff's still coming in, so I don't have everything. I don't know if this amendment, you know, right now it was at, say, $3,500. I don't know if we need to make it,
We may get $3,500
okay.
in, I'm asking, could we still get $3,500 in maybe car?
Well,
But it,
what you haven't stated here either is the amount of income from sponsors that were paid to the DDA, which was $1,600.
And we still have, there's one that's coming in from Heidelberg that's
Of
gonna be
500.
for 500 to the
That's a total.
DDA.
That's a total. Let me
Yeah.
go
but it's,
through
we
this.
still only had 7,700
I get it,
spent.
but what I'm
Yeah.
saying is, I understand what you're saying, but also, I know it sounds like we're over budget in that respect.
Yeah.
But technically, with the money that was raised, with sponsorships, car fees, vendor market fees, there's actually money that was raised outside of the budget, if you look at it that way. There was the 4,000, what was that at? 4,036?
For 4,060.
4,060.
But actually more, but yeah.
But, and then also the income for the car show fees, the street vendors was 1,435 at this time. And I
Right,
just
not-
gave checks
right.
too. and then the $1,600 that has been paid or will be paid from the sponsors that sent money directly to the DDA. So if you take those three amounts, that's over $7,000 that was raised. And, I mean,
An hour and a
that's,
half.
but just saying, no.
It's not- yeah,
It's not, on paper, I know it looks like we're over budget, but technically, with the money that was raised.
And
it isn't.
I,
And I understand that it's
Yeah.
a bookkeeping thing, I
Well,
totally get that.
and the other thing too, and I hear what you're saying, but the money that was raised does not, the board did not vote to put that back into that event.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying, like, the board still
Right.
only said this, we're gonna spend
Right,
7,700.
and that's where, you know,
Yeah.
unfortunately, that was not clear
Yeah,
to us, obviously.
Yeah.
Or we would not have gone about it this way. We knew that, you know, that the board would be able to write checks for $7,700. And so that's what we have lined out here is a total of $7,222.62 that would be paid out by the DDA.
literally a check.
Literally a check.
Yep, I get what you're saying.
When that's when we knew that that's where we were at, then we knew that with these other things that wanting to be done, that's where we came in to raise the money for the additional amounts.
Right.
As you see there on that second page. But then also raising sponsorships that would go directly to the DDA because we already had what we needed paid up. So then like send the rest of that money goes directly to the DDA, which we will have, who knows what we'll have
Right.
the day of too, with the cars that'll come in.
You know, what's funny though, you're right, because once we had all the sponsors, you know, all the kids, the face painting, magician,
Everything was-
once they were all paid, we still had people approaching, we wanna donate money,
Still
we wanna
wanted to donate
donate money.
money.
They were
Right,
like
but-
throwing money at us, and I
but you
said,
have,
I think what
I
you're-
understand, but you still have to
right,
refer them
and
to
that's
our
what I
approved
said.
program.
Yeah.
I said, well, write the check out to the DDA.
But no, it's not just write the check out to the DDA because they cannot donate to a specific event. They would need to go and choose one of our sponsors
Yeah.
that the board agreed to.
What if we didn't want to utilize that money for that event? And then
Exactly.
they feel like they were maybe misled, right?
Right.
Like I wanted to use it for face painting. Well, it didn't go for face painting, it went for Winter Wonderland or something
Yeah.
else.
Right,
So I think you need to establish, or we need to figure out how we allocate donations in the future.
Well, we
So-
have a
We
program.
have-
And if we have a program, great, we just need to stick by that.
but we just weren't, we
Right.
weren't
So
knowledgeable on the
we just need to
program.
be all made aware
We
of
thought
what
we
it
were
is.
doing really good by covering, picking up the pieces.
Because I know what you're saying, you want to have a budget,
Right.
and then it doesn't matter what people donate, this is the max they can donate.
Right, so
Just
if
like a golf outing.
any expenditure by the board needs to be agreed on by the board.
We can come
So you can
back.
plan for it.
But we
You
can,
don't want to undershoot and you don't want to overshoot. You
Right.
just
Well,
want
and,
to fill what you
you know,
have.
some of the things we can approve as chair and vice chair. You know, if it's $50 that somebody got some supplies, I don't need to come back to the board and ask for that. You know, so now we're in the thousands of dollars. It's not a couple $100 or $50, so that's why the board has to agree to this. So that
We're
I,
going outside of what we originally
Yeah,
agreed
I
to.
understand.
right. And it's fortunately, Paul, we weren't here
Right.
when they,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
Adopted
understand
them.
now, we weren't, we just,
So I think at the beginning of any of these events, we need to like set aside donation targets. And then and put those on paper. And when somebody does call in, not saying you guys, we do it next. They know they can donate $1,000 for this, $500, but once that max is met, you're done. You can't take any more donations.
yeah.
So,
well, the
it's-
donations are to the DDA. They're
Yeah.
not to a specific thing.
but,
So
but
regardless,
on paper they are.
no,
but then
they
isn't that
are.
money used for the following year? We couldn't use it for this year.
No, it just goes into revenue that is coming in. And the sponsorship program shows that if you sponsor the DDA at, say,
You're a sponsor of the DDA.
Of the DDA.
Any and all events.
and
so-
flowers and whatever
Yeah.
else that we do. So
And then-
your logo is on our website, there's levels, there's tiers.
Oh, okay.
So all the logos, I
Got
have
it.
to get logos of these to figure out what level are they at.
Right.
Get those logos out there on our website, see where they fall. That's a piece of it.
And we weren't aware of that when we were doing.
So it's not a per event situation?
No.
No.
Got it,
Right.
okay.
And going back to events, you know, kind of like what we talked about before, and I think, Paul, you brought this up about maybe just having 2 major events a year, which,
Yeah.
you know, and maybe, not today, obviously, but maybe moving forward, learning from this. And, you know, one of the situations that we ran into is, like, for the sponsorship part, like, when I sent them to that sponsorship, like, we had a business that wanted to basically fund the whole event. But, you know, that was something that, okay, maybe not this year, but maybe that's something I'm looking into, you know, do we even want something like that, first of all? And if so, how do we go about doing that? So we kind of just push that aside.
Well,
to-
and I think that's something that the board needs to have a deeper conversation about, because then we're in the situation of, are we handing our events off to people?
Right, and see, and I
So-
don't particularly like that idea
Exactly.
myself,
So
but,
if I say Android's Accounting Service is going to sponsor, I'll pay for the entire Vintage Fest.
Right.
Well, now I just bought myself the decision, and they're not, that business is not on this board to make those decisions. We're-
Exactly.
You know, so,
so those are the things like we started running into that we're like, oh, okay, let's hold that off and then, you know.
That's a good thing, you know, as these events get more legs,
Right,
people want to be involved in them.
Oh,
That's
they
why I
are.
think we consolidate them to a couple that are really good and we're really good at.
And I
Instead of
agree
having a
with
whole
that.
bunch of them that people don't pay attention to.
yeah.
And
So right
there's-
now, we have 2 scheduled for next year.
yeah,
And we put $10,000 on each one, but that's gonna be very important, that next year, that's what we have to spend, is $10,000.
Yeah, and then
Whether
maybe-
someone says, I wanna give you another 10 to spend, no, you can sponsor the DDA with a $10,000 sponsorship,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still up to this board to decide where that 10,000
Right.
goes to. It's not up to the sponsors of that, the chairs of that event to decide where that money goes to,
right.
going forward.
I still need a motion.
Do you need the motion until we know how much the event
Well-
brings in?
Well, I've got
We have
bills to pay.
the event's Saturday.
Can I make a motion?
Yeah, okay.
I say we approve this out of surely the fact that we don't want to look like we have egg on our face. We want to approve and pay people so that the next event, they're going to make sure they get paid. And I think we learned from this and definitely detail this out on our next go-around of
But
how this doesn't happen again.
granted, where are you gonna get it from, though? We need this from somewhere.
I
Well,
don't have the
these-
budget in front of me, I don't know. I don't have the
Yeah.
whole budget. I'm sure, I don't know.
So checks to the DDA are,
The total checks needed from the DDA are $7,222.62.
no, how many people wrote a check to the DDA?
Oh, how, that is on there.
I had 2 from sponsors at the time of this. I think there's some more in here, and I think there's some at the office.
Right, and then one
Um,
on its way.
And then I had some various car show fees that came in with cash. They're in your thing here as deposits.
So I would think that these, and this is the other issue, is like these down here that don't show check received, we really shouldn't be advertising or promoting these people until payment's been received.
They've been, you have to check. The only one you don't have is Heidelberg.
Right, but I'm just saying, but they're printed on material right now, and we don't have any payment from them.
My only issue too is, I mean, do you think that maybe this can be clearer? I don't follow everything on the sheet just because I don't understand what has been paid by reading this. Are you guys having a hard time making sense of?
So the first page, look at the first page, Paul.
Yeah.
It says DDA approved budget was $7,700. This part where it says expenses to be paid by the DDA, this is what I should physically be writing a check for, because the second page where it says expenses paid in kind donations, those sponsors, Culligan, Mark Hackle, Romeo Rotary, they paid that vendor directly. So I'm not going to write any check. It's been just paid.
Page 2, they've all been paid by sponsors.
How did they decide who they're paying?
Well, we drafted it up, and within an hour and a half, the two,
So the
You
question
sure
is.
they've been paid?
Yeah.
yeah.
So then, like Giordano Graphics, you know, you can see Giordano Graphics, there were several sponsors that paid that, but we still have $36 that's due to them for that bill.
But I had asked if we can get these invoices. Have we gotten any of these invoices showing that they've been paid?
That's what Marty had
Yeah.
given to Danielle.
So we have an invoice from MC DJ showing that he's been paid. We have an invoice from Sound Dog showing that they've been paid. Like, we have all these invoices?
That's what I sent over in an email, all those, you got it, didn't you, Kathy? All those,
Well, we'll have to look for that. I don't
To make
know
sure the
that I
checks
saw
are
that.
cleared and the people,
Yeah, because they're
Right.
gonna come back and say that I never got paid.
yeah, like, is there a waiver or something? I mean, how do you know that?
well, they have the canceled check.
But how do we know is the question.
Yeah, it's just you're tracking more stuff, I don't know. I understand now what you're talking about, but that seems to be very confusing.
So, we have,
So like, Mark Hackle paid for Wolfman Mac, $450. Not that I don't trust Mark Hackle, but do we know that that bill was paid? Do we have a paid invoice before we budget into our budget $450 that we're gonna account for that being spent on our behalf?
No, because I didn't look at it that way, I looked at it as Mark Cacco paying our DJ or our MC.
But remember, I asked you for these
I
invoices?
know, when
Yeah.
it first started, I didn't look at it that way, they were paid for by someone else, so I didn't
No, I-
realize that the DDA had to have,
But no, I'm talking about like last week when we talked about
oh,
it.
I know, and I sent that, I sent all that. I have copies of it on my phone, where I sent it. I can resend it.
So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 invoices that were paid by other people. Is that correct?
I have 1, 2, 3,
12, yep.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
What if, say, it rains and the DJ can't be there? Do they get a check back? Or do they just out it? Or how does, who
It's a
writes the
rain or
check?
shine
then?
event.
it's a rain or shine.
Okay, just curious.
I mean, the only thing I see is employee expenses.
But I mean, we don't have these 12 invoices yet, do you?
Marty,
No,
I
I'm
didn't
talking
get
about
it,
in the
so I
budget.
don't
I'll
know.
resend it.
Okay,
I don't know where to
I
get
don't know.
I sent it a week ago.
So, we,
I guess, what are you asking us to approve? Is there like some person or thing or check or it's just an arbitrary amount? How do we verify?
It's the remainder of these that have not been paid.
Okay, so these ones, okay.
which it might be a little bit more because this has been updated. So this is based on what I had to do.
And
this week.
assuming that these have all been paid here.
So where do we go run the budget then? If these are our original items here, and these are all sponsored items that got paid for, where is the $3,500 at?
Because there was $11,000 spent. Regardless of who paid for it, $11,000 was spent.
And of that, we've received 600 in a check to the DDA, correct?
As of the time I did this.
And
There may have been some more that came in, but as of the time I did this.
So did you receive a check yet from Pete Lucido?
Yeah, it's in I put it in your office a week ago.
An M52 agency? Well, it's not my office, it's the DDA office.
Well, whose ever office. I put it
M52
into.
agency?
The only one that you don't have is Hedebrecht, and he was out of town, and he's gonna get it to us.
So we have received checks for 3, that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, $1,100 is what we've received. So if that money gets deposited in of the 3521 that we're asking for,
Because I sent you a picture of it as well, you and Danielle.
which we need to move $2,421. because this money is actually being deposited.
This was on Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I left in your drawer.
Yep.
And Danielle,
And I
there's
had already done this finance.
$500
Is in
in
here.
checks,
Okay.
yeah,
See, but maybe
for the
less,
additional
depending on what
5
comes in this
vendors.
weekend.
But even what comes in this weekend wouldn't come to a line item for this event, it would just come to income for the DDA. So we would need to move $2,421 from another category, because 1,100 of it we've received.
Okay. Now, we do in our, we have $5,453 left in CBD events. It is not, we don't go to that granular level for this. So
We had moved it.
within that bucket, we have enough to cover this, but this board has to say, yeah. We acknowledge that we have gone over, pay these bills, for what we understand the amount to be at this point.
So we're gonna put the 5,000 in, right?
No,
Or
3,500.
3,000. But then that money's actually gonna remain in there because they've already been paid, correct?
No.
I'm
We're gonna-
confused.
So it's gonna show in our line items as revenue,
Mm-hmm.
revenue coming in. And then because we budgeted for
77.
CBD events in total, $22,550. We only have that much money to spend on CBD events without doing an amendment. And when you get to the granular level of the Vintage Fest, the board said, okay, of that amount of money, we want you to spend $7,700
Right.
on this. We went over that, so they have to say, we acknowledge that, you're good, pay these bills. And then I have to have the invoices to put with all the paperwork, so that when Julie goes through everything for finances, she can reconcile it all and say, okay, technically, this money really didn't come in and go back out, but we have an invoice, we see how it was paid.
We have to show it.
We have to show it, right?
So because I want to make you repeat yourself, we're not making a budget amendment
We are making a
We
budget
are-
amendment to Vintage Fest budget.
out of the existing events budget.
CBD events.
Yeah. So you, Andrea, you said that you don't believe that this number should be 3,500 because,
Well, I think that it probably does need to be 3,500,
Okay.
but once our deposits go in, that's gonna go under revenue.
Okay,
So it
it's
should be
gonna
the
go-
35,
okay.
correct.
so based on what I'm quickly seeing here on this other page, I am going to make a motion to add an additional $4,000 to Vintage Fest for 2024 to cover the expenditures. And then next meeting, we should have a full and complete picture and detail of where everything came from and was paid for.
Out of CBD events. I had a motion from Paul originally, I didn't get a second, so
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize that Paul had a motion.
Yeah, I don't have a motion. I'm still trying to understand it.
withdraw.
Okay.
First page has been paid.
Yep.
Second by the DDA. Second
Yep.
page has been paid by donations.
So $7,700, $7,161 has been paid so far?
No, I have not
No.
paid at all.
It will be paid. That's the DDA's.
That's what I'm trying to get.
Allotment of the bills.
Yeah.
How did we get to 11,000? That's what I don't understand.
Because then we went over budget by allowing
Where's that?
third-party,
Where's that shown? Not here, that's all
This.
right. Like, you got 7, these were all paid for,
all of this.
The second page that you're
but these
looking.
were all checks direct.
Right,
right?
so we went over by that that amount of money.
But
We
they-
said, it doesn't matter who paid for it. We said this event can only cost us $7,700, regardless of who pays for it.
Okay, got it. That's wrong, I was confused, okay.
All right, so we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we'll do a roll call.
Sandler, on.
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Oswald,
Yes.
Hutnick,
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes, but I want to talk about this not happening again. This needs to be done a lot different, really.
Yeah, and I agree,
Ro-
it would just,
Sorry, Rosa, no. 5-1, motion passes.
Okay, we'll have this on our next agenda.
Okay.
Wayfinding signage discussion.
Okay, so part of the PILOP, one of the solutions was wayfinding, primarily where our public parking is. We have a couple signs downtown. I'm sure you've seen them. They're kind of vintagey looking, historic looking. A lot of them kind of point you in a direction, and when you go around the corner, there's nothing else telling you where to go. So it's kind of dead end. What we're looking at or thinking about doing is getting more signage, which can be done in the form of our banners. So where a pole sits next to public parking, something that has our, our logo that says public parking can be on that banner. So it can be moved. It's a little less expensive than a full sign that is cemented into the ground. A little easier to see and probably a bit quicker to get done. So now that we have an approved logo, what I'd like to do is the 3 sets of banners that we would like to get done, our generic banner, the Halloween banner, and then this winter banner. Included in those, I would like to do banners that are public parking, but that fit the theme that goes along with those to start the ball rolling down this path of wayfinding. We can also get some idea of pricing for some signs that can, go on the backs of buildings and whatnot. But my proposal at this point is to start with the banners. Now that we have an approved logo, we can move forward with that.
Just thinking after our discussion earlier about our upcoming meeting with the village council, if we did have a solution to the parking situation, we could even have these locating free parking.
Yep.
So when people are driving around, they can see where the free lots are. So I think it's great. So what are you looking for?
I guess it's more just informational. This is what I was gonna do, unless anybody has any real
So you would
objection.
want to incorporate this then also with the winter banners that we're
Yep,
gonna be ordering?
yep,
Perfect.
yep.
Okay, great.
I'm trying to find where I had this, but it said in here that the DDA should help with, where is it at? Employee parking, ride and share, those type of situations. Should we detail those out? We have any, like, offshoot parking lots that we can have designated as employee parking?
I think,
And I think that follows the guidelines. I
Yeah.
don't have it highlighted in what I printed, but I know it's in here.
I don't know if we have to talk with the village council to get like a specific lot approved for that, but I think it's something we can definitely do.
It's the type of thing we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Great idea to throw out there and see
Yeah.
what.
Yeah, I agree.
Then if you're a business, you can tell your employees you're parking over there in the lot that says for employees.
Yep,
You can also put maybe public use on it too, but I'm saying then the employees know that's where they go
yeah,
instead of.
or you park in any free parking lot,
Yeah.
kind of thing, yeah. Mm-hmm.
We work through that, you know. Like we said, we have Main Street as the center and work our way out from there.
I agree. But I think it's a good idea incorporating this with the look of each seasonal banners, so
I do like
as the
that.
seasons are
Yeah.
changed out, this will update with them.
Yeah, I really do like this.
Okay.
Great. All right, officer nominations for 2024, 2025. Our new officers take place in July, and it lasts for 1 year. So we are open to nominations for chair, vice chair, secretary. I think treasurer is still, oh, it goes to the end of this, and treasurer.
Yeah.
I'd like to nominate Andrea St. Laurent for chair, Danielle Lee for vice chair.
I second that.
Well, okay, since now it's open for discussion, is anyone interested in these positions? We'd love to give anyone a shot.
Well, our hope is we're still gonna get it, do we still have, if you have a director, we still have those positions though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
You're doing really good, both of you.
we know what to fix next. Thank you. Well, do you want to make it all in one motion? Do you want to discuss secretary and treasurer? Is there a volunteer for secretary and
Oh,
treasurer?
we have a treasurer right now as well, right?
Yeah, Marty.
Marty.
Well, and Marty for treasurer.
You're not
You're not
nominating
nominating
yourself.
yourself for secretary?
So we gotta pass this motion and then I can nominate you.
Then we can nominate.
Sure.
Okay.
All right, so Paul, are you seconding this nomination?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do roll call.
Saint Laurent,
Yes.
Danielle. I'm
Yes.
sorry, Lee.
Yes.
Oswald,
Yes.
Hutnick,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Rose, yes. Passes.
I make a nomination to appoint John as the secretary.
I will second. Any discussion?
Doing a great job, John.
Just keep on roll calling.
Saint Laurent,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes?
Oswald,
Yes.
Hutnick,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Rose, 6-0.
You're so good, John. Good job.
All right, which brings us to board member comments. Start with you, Paul.
I did find that, so I'm gonna read it. It's out of, it's on the CDB, or CBD, village guidelines here. It says, in the interest of creating a viable central business district, achieving the goals of the DDA plan and enhancing pedestrian vehicular traffic with the downtown, the village encouraged development of a strategic location for public and private parking lots. In addition, the village council and DDA shall encourage employee off-site parking, share a ride, carpools, joint use parking, and similar means for reducing CBD parking needs. There are also a number of uses located within the CBD which do not function alone and are dependent upon other uses in the CBD. So in saying that, maybe we can partner with somebody outside of the CBD for some parking that will help us out with maybe some vacant lots along 32 Mile. Maybe right off the expressway would be really nice. I don't know, we can talk through that. Maybe those gas stations over there, some that don't utilize all their parking, that maybe we can talk to them and help us out with some employee parking, carpooling situations.
Great.
Other than that, like I said before, let's come to the meeting with the village with some ideas and make it productive. We need to make this work. This needs to get off a square, and I think it's in the betterment of the DDA, the village, and all the residents to come up with a viable plan. But like I told you before with the stuff I printed, I'm not so sure we have a parking problem. We have what it looks like, plenty of parking. We just need to manage it in a way where, like, we have Main Street, we work out from there. Main Street's the most critical. We get the parking off Main Street by whatever means we discuss, and then work our way out. Make it free as we work out. That's all I have.
John?
Along those lines, as Paul just said, and we all said earlier, very encouraging. We're working to put together a meeting with the trustees regarding the parking situation, instead of passing the buck or putting it off or what have you. So, as a board, please, again, come bringing potential solutions, not just simply, no, this won't work, that won't work. If you're gonna say that, then what are you gonna propose will work? Second and lastly, Kathy, Marty, regarding Vintage Fest, ton of work, does not go unnoticed, greatly appreciated, not easy, isn't over yet, I know, but I do appreciate you guys doing everything you've done, and good weather on Saturday.
Yeah, with the weather gods.
Yeah. So again, thank you for all your hard work. I agree, it is not easy. So I appreciate that. Again, please take the time to review what Paul has given us regarding PILAP, so we can go to this meeting educated. And then also, please review the occupancy permits. So that'll be kind of the next thing that the DDA is going to address, is assuring that the permitted uses within the DDA district, that occupancy permits are given based on those permitted uses, so.
I don't have anything that you haven't already said. Thank you to Marty and Kathy. I'm excited about Saturday. It's gonna be fun.
Thank you. Yes, and hopefully the weather will hold out and.
It looks good.
Yeah, it looks good. Almanac says so, right? And Paul, thank you for all of this. I really.
Yeah, it's a good,
It's really a good place for us to be able to dig in and look and kind of
Yeah.
streamlined it for us.
Knowledge is key.
Yeah.
That's how we're gonna
Exactly.
get anything done, and
Yeah.
being on these boards, is
Right.
be knowledgeable.
Exactly, and very good. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
yeah, those are my words, so, good.
Great.
Thank you.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? All right.